Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passion World Talk Radio Network to educate, to enlighten, to entertain. And today on the bi weekly podcasting tip with your host, Lillian Caldwell, I will be discussing the responsibilities of the host of the podcast. And there are some responsibilities that you are responsible for, and you will be held accountable for them, and it will determine whether or not your podcast runs smoothly or you have a lot of problems. The first thing that you need to do as a host is agree to disagree. Not everything that your guest or you as a solo podcaster is going to say that everybody is going to agree with. If you are presenting material that you believe may be upsetting to some people, or maybe the content is not what you usually present, you as the host must put a disclaimer on your podcast telling people you may not enjoy what I'm going to say next, or you may disagree what I'm saying. Please text me and provide your phone number or your cell phone number, or provide them with an email address so that they can tell you exactly what they feel and why they feel that way. You will find on a lot of programs now, on television, on the cable channels, where they put disclaimers up saying that these are just reenactments. Some of the material has been changed. The people, their faces may be covered or protected. So you want to protect yourself from introducing material or content to your available listening audience that is not going to offend them. Another thing that you may want to also remember is you need to keep your temper under control. You cannot get angry unless it's part of what you're passionately trying to impress upon your audience. Otherwise, please hang on to your anger. This is not time for you to stamp your feet, jump up and down, smash your fist through a wall. If there's something going on, we will now take a minute and have station identification and mute yourself, and then do whatever you have to do. But it's not the time to do it over the air, live to your potential listening audience, because they remember whether or not you can hold on to your temper, and most importantly, control yourself when you find yourself in an awkward situation. You also want to avoid ranting and temper tantrums. You're no longer a child. You're a responsible adult, and you are going to be held accountable for your actions. Make sure that you do that. The other thing is, if you reach a point or an impasse where the guest is saying something or you're saying something and somebody from the audience challenge you, put it on the shelf. Tell them that you will return to it another day and another episode, or arrange for a question and answer period on Facebook and answer the questions that way, or answer in sending out an email to your audience that you have less than 1,000 people who are listening to you at that time. But don't ever get upset online, because that leads to carelessness, and it also upsets how the audience reacts to you in the future when you do additional podcasts. You need to keep an open mind as a podcaster, or as I put it, judge not lest ye be judged yourself. Not everybody's perfect. Nobody even comes close to that. And you need to keep an open mind. People have different opinions, different expectations, different understandings. They come from a culture that's not similar to yours. They speak a foreign language that does not resonate in your ears, whatever. Be very mindful of what's going on around you. You do not live in an ivory tower with ivy going up the tower itself. You can't put your hair down in order to bring up your suitor. You're not isolated. Podcasting invites the public into your space. So allow them that space and give them plenty of space. When you talk, make sure you use key words and key sentences and talk in a plain language so that your audience understands. Most people read at third grade level. Some more of the professionals may be higher up on the food chain, like 6th or 7th grade. language, but understand that the people who are listening to you have to understand what you're saying the first time out of the gate. You don't have that many minutes or seconds to really clarify. So make yourself understood the first time. And always, always be respectful. People don't understand, but when I was being brought up in the 50s, we were taught to sir and ma'am everybody. If you forget a name or you cannot pronounce it accurately enough, you say sir or ma'am, and it's considered common courtesy, and therefore you stay out of a lot of trouble. The other thing you need to be is genuine. Before you bring on your guest, make sure you go out and do research on them, find out where their website is, read about their about page, find out what they've written or created, music, what play they're in, why they're famous, whatever need to do to pick up on those details you need to have at hand. And you have to be careful not to lie, not even a little white lie. I remember trying to explain the difference between white lies to my son because he heard me saying a lie to my boss on the phone. And he says, well, how come you can lie and I can't? And I said, because I'm paid to lie. And I said, you're not. And I said, when you go into the work world, you'll find out sometimes that telling the truth can be awfully dangerous if you're telling the truth to the wrong person. So sometimes you have to make it less threatening to them. But I don't recommend it. Tell the truth the first time around, and you won't have to worry about it at all. As a podcast, you're not all knowing. Unlike Adam and Eve, you cannot pick the tree and get an apple, and it will disclose to you all your information. There are lots of things I don't know, and I let the guests know that, and I ask them to direct me or redirect me where I can get the additional information from. These are some of the responsibilities that a host should be mindful of. So thank you very much for listening and paying attention to these tips. You can see this all over again at youtube.com/PWR Network, PW Talk Radio, at our website, passionateworldtalkradio.com. Also on linkedin.com/Lillian Caldwell, facebook.com/Passionate World Radio. And a reminder that tomorrow, Thursday at 4 p.m., is the podcast obstacle training webinar, which introduces 3 principles that you need absolutely for when you're presenting your podcast: the 7 C's of communication, the art of the interview, either giving one or being interviewed yourself, and mastering your people skills. So I hope you join us then. Thank you very much for listening and have an awesome day.